kind of hands who would join this evening's Digital Net. I will whisk down the list in the normal format based on how you popped up on the Reflector dashboard. And I know some may be in, but we'll start at the top, I think, with our friends in Germany. GL1BJW with XLX305D. Over to you, Mike. Gianna.
Delta Lima 1 Bravo Juliet Whiskey, very good evening to one and all. Hope everybody is well and okay. Here over in Germany, we are preparing for a night of big storms and even some real gales, which have been predicted for this night and following day, taking down the end-fed wire antennas already. But yeah, let's keep our fingers crossed. Otherwise, we are okay. Mainly, that is to say, I've got a nasty cold. Perhaps you can hear it in my voice. I got that from playing with cute little son of a very dear friend who came visiting us for the child, and the little one had got a cold. He nevertheless was very cute, but I got a cold from him, so that's that. I have to cope with the results, but we'll do, I think. Yes, that's all from my side for this over. Passing the microphone to Delta Lima 1 Bravo Juliet with Delta Lima 8 Bravo Delta Tango. Losing control.
Taking over the control panel here, Delta Lima 8 Bravo Delta Tango for the group. It's very good evening to all of you from northern Germany. At the moment, everything's okay on my side. Let's hope for the best that the cold will pass by, but I have no real hope for that. So perhaps time to play more with the radio during the next day. Radio-wise, on my side, there was not so much to report, but I'm looking forward to your reports there. So I hand the microphone back to Net Control to Keith, GM4JKZ. This is Delta Lima 8 Bravo Delta Tango.
Delta Lima 8 Bravo Delta Tango with GL1BJW from GM4JKZ. Yeah, fine, Mike. Adriana. Yeah, I've got a bit of a cold as well, Mike, but it obviously probably doesn't sound as bad as yours at the moment. So we shall persevere, I think. Got plenty of water here, so there we go. I think mine started up after I had my flu jab for this winter. So that was last week. So there we go. And okay, on the limited radio this week, mine has also been very limited. Splitting out one of the bedrooms, and I've got the ceilings and walls and paintwork sorted out. Tomorrow we start wallpapering one wall, and then once that's done, I can start laying the floor. Never ending, he says. Okay, let's go over to Lou then. Yeah, KJD, 20M for JKZ.
Yeah, GM for JKZ and the group G8KJJ. Yes, very good evening to everyone. It's a pleasure to be back again. The WX in Nottingham, it's been very windy and wet this morning. A bit calmer this afternoon. It's been cool, 9 degrees Celsius, but it's been more settled this evening. So I think the storm is gradually departing. Band conditions for me, good at times during the week. Yesterday was good around midday. Worked a few stations in the USA, Japan, Korea, Asiatic, Russia, amongst others. So it was quite a good session I had yesterday. Most of the week has been spent setting up the station for satellite operation. and so that I can do the satellite work in the shack. It's a little bit too cold these days to go out and start playing around there. So I've decided it's going to come into the shack. Anyway, more on that on the next over. GM4JKZ, G8KJJ.
Yeah, KJJ with group GM4JKZ. Yeah, fine on that, Lou. And yeah, good that you got some DX on the go there over into the Asiatic regions. And yeah, Asiatic black is always an interesting one. I think I worked in places right over on the far end of the West Peninsula some months ago, which surprised me, I must admit. Okay, before we go on to Nick, are there any places on GB786 that we could check in this evening? If you are listening and you'd like to join us, would you give us a call by now? Oh, nothing heard. Over to you then, Nick. B4 with the M48KZ. Good evening.
GM4JKZ in the group from G4IWO. Yeah, good evening, Keith, and good evening to everyone else on the net tonight. And good evening, of course, to those watching or listening live on YouTube and those listening to it during the week. Yeah, first of all, just the weather here up in the Pennine Hills. As you know, just outside Rochdale. Temperature outside at the shack here is currently 7 degrees, and I agree with Lou. There's also been quite a nippy wind, and the temperature is clearly going to be dropping overnight over the next 2 or 3 days, and definitely not weather for going outside with an antenna. So I've been seeing if I can make up the wires for a copy of the 2-element Moxon antenna that is currently being sold by one of the ham radio emporiums in Britain, and it's a vertical Moxon for 20 meters. Very simple to make, so I've got the wires already cut. I just need to go outside with 2 10-meter poles and put it up and test it out both with the analyzer and then on the radio. But sadly, it's the time of the year where those sort of things become rather difficult. But anyway, we shall see. And yeah, just on the personal note, one of my children, my son, who lives down in London, he and his wife have just had twin boys. So we're somewhat taken with chatting to them and exchanging photographs, and just preparing to go down to visit them to see their 2 new babies, who, as my son is absolutely gushing over his first children, is just amazed with them. So that's life, isn't it? But it's wonderful at that stage of it. So back to you, Keith. GM4JKZ in the group at G4IWO.
G4IWO with the group GM4JKZ. Yeah, fine there, Nick. And just to let everybody know, I've at last got the call sign in my logbook on ADF, courtesy of Nick yesterday afternoon, I think it was. Losing back a time there. Well, it could be Tuesday, I'm not sure. So that's a good one for me. I remember I've got up here when we started, it was 4.6 degrees. It's now 4.3 degrees outside. We had a lovely sunny day yesterday, blue sky, absolutely beautiful. So the other half decided he would go down to Somerset yesterday rather than today, which was a good choice. And we've taken the dog with her. So the good thing for me is if the weather gets colder, I don't have to go out and take the dog at all. That's for the next week and a half. So but there, I've got all the work to do in the on the decorating side. There we go. Okay, so have a chat to Bob over in the States there in 4X8T with a group from the M4JKZ.
Yeah, 4AK. Yeah, KZ
report. Actually, I'll tell you good afternoon, good evening to all on the net. It's a little warmer here, but still it's cool here. This morning when I came into the shack, it was about the 4th Celsius. Currently it's up to 15, and that probably will be the body for the day. So I really can't complain, even though for me, even 16 is cold. I do have a question, and probably you'll be able to answer it, Keith. From what I can gather, you fellows go to East o'clock on Sunday. Of course, we usually run about a week behind you. My question is, next week, Zulu or UCT, whatever you call it today, time will the nets be? Will they be the same Zulu time as they are now, or will that change? I believe that I come into the shack about an hour later for about a week until our times change, but I'm not quite sure about that. The old memory just can't keep anymore. Radio-wise, I've spent a good week on the radio, and I've had good reception to excellent reception for the week. Most of my activity, of course, has been on 40 meters very early in the morning, and then I since switched to 20. It's surprising. 20 used to be open around the clock, but anymore, when I first come out to the deck, it's not open, and then it opens up. I may have worked a German part today, but I'm not sure. The signal was so far down, I'm not sure he got my call tonight correctly, even though he gave me a 3-2 or something on the return. But like I say, reception's been good. There has been some USB, but however, I can't complain. I also have had a few contacts on both 10 meters and 17 meters this week. So that's it to me. That's about all from here. Keith, go back to you. From N4XAT.
N4XAT was group N4XAT. Yeah, fine there, Bob. And yeah, our clock goes back on 1 o'clock Monday morning, in effect. No, it's 1 o'clock Sunday morning, so they go back to midnight. So we lose an hour. For us retirees, it's not a problem. We don't have to get up an hour earlier to go to work, which is great. So nothing to complain about that one. So that'll take us back to UTC or GMT. So, right, okay, and fine on your contact on 10 and 17. That's fine, and I would certainly like your temperature over here. That's a bit warmer than up now. I am now down to 3.7 degrees outside, so it's going to be a property night by the look of it. Okay, let's go to Belgium with Jeff, Oscar November 8, November Tango. Over to you from the M4JKZ for the group.
M4JKZ, the group over 8 November Tango. Very good evening to everyone, very good afternoon to you both. And hello to everyone on YouTube. And congratulations, Nick, on becoming a grandfather again with the twin boys. That's really very nice. Okay, though, and a twin boy, yeah, that's really very nice. Weather-wise, we have 11 degrees. We had a lot of wind today. Actually, I think that's the storm Benjamin, which is going to Germany now. So Mike and Adriana will get the pleasures of that tomorrow, I think. But today we really had heavy winds and a lot of rain. But now it calmed down. So that's the good news. I have been at the seaside last week. We had very good weather. Actually, it was calm weather, about 15 degrees Celsius, sunshine from time to time, and we really enjoyed ourselves. So I have a picture of that, or a picture in relation to the seaside here in Belgium at the end of the net. And we came back home at Saturday evening late, and no, there's someone, QRX. I'm not sure if there if I was okay. Okay, because the verification is on the A reflector, no problem at all. Okay, so we came back on the Saturday evening late, and Sunday I did participate in the Japanese reading contest. These were not brilliant, but worked some stations, but not a lot of peaks actually. Some Americans, brilliant, but not the rest was Europe, I think. So that's the news. More news on the next over. So I put it back to you, Keith. Gold Mike 4 Juliet Kilo Zulu of an 8 November Tango with the group.
November Tango in the group from GM4JKZ. Yeah, fine there, Jeff. And see my pictures. Lovely. Look forward to that one. I was unprepared. I didn't manage to whiz out here. We had to come online about 10 minutes before walking right in the rollers. So that's what I've been trying to sort out. Okay, on a couple of things that I wanted to remind people of before I forget. M0FXB has done a couple of videos on the Repeater Book Connect software, which looks extremely good. No good for me up here because I've only got one repeater I can get into, or 1.5 on a good day. But it will actually control your handheld or radio from your mobile phone using the Repeater Book Connect software. It has to be paid for, of course, but £1 a month I think is pretty reasonable if you're living in the middle of the country. And the other point I wanted to add was Ham Radio Deluxe is the new version now is due for launch on Monday if anybody's using it. That could be quite interesting, version 6.9. So there we go. Right, I think we've got new addition onto the list, so let's put it round to your good self. M0 PLZ, Papa Lima Zulu with a group from GM4JKZ. M0 PLZ, Mike 0 Papa Lima Zulu, GM4JKZ. Probably just monitoring from GM4JKZ. Okay, with that, we'll go back to the top of the list then. Up to Mike and Adriana there. DL1 BJW with TL8 BDC from GM4JKZ.
Yeah, there's only one Bravo Juliet Whiskey returning. Yeah, first of all, not to be forgotten, heartfelt congrats to Nick becoming a grandparent again. That's good news. I think, was telling us about the RTTY contest, I think. Yeah, it was. I made the observation that on Saturday, I could work quite a number of stations, but on Sunday it was the propagation seemed to me anyway to be a lot worse than Saturday, and I couldn't explain that, but on the whole it was better than the contest before that, but not so good as some we had before that. I worked Japan, Asiatic Russia, Brazil, Iceland, Tunisia, Greenland, Chile, and Argentina, and some American stations, I think. So it was quite good, but that was all on Saturday, a bit seriously. Yeah, otherwise, I've got the Hamel DL8JJ, Delta Lima 8 Juliet on my Ham alert on my app and the mobile phone, and he was QRV again today at noontime. He is often to be found on 40 meters at noontime. and was there also this day, but I couldn't work him. He was doing an unbelievable 51 words per minute. Just imagine, 51 words per minute. I couldn't even understand that. Nevertheless, he seems to be coping well. Well, yeah, so much from my side, passing the microphone to Delta Lima 8 Bravo Delta Tango.
Yeah, this is Delta Lima 8 Bravo Delta Tango for the group. Yes, first of all, congrats to your successes, Luke. Fabulous, very, very good. And yes, I think I'll have to spend a little more time at the radio during the next days to be again part of the community, of the working community. So yes, the RTTY contest reminds me that I'll have to install FLDG on my PC device because with the QMX it would be possible to work RTTY, but it's necessary to install FLDG. I don't know if it's completely free software or if there is only a test version which can be downloaded. Perhaps, Jeff, I think you work with FLDG. Perhaps you can tell us this. So once I think I'll build RTTY. And last but not least, Nick, congrats to your grandchild twins. This is very, very nice and very good. This will be nice family meetings in the future, and it will be very, very interesting when they all come to France next summer. This will be very, very interesting. So that's all from my side. I hand the microphone to GM for JK for that, for the group.
Yeah, the DT with GL1B from GM4JKZ. Yeah, fine, Mike and Adriana. I could hear Mike coughing in the background. I'm not quite at that stage yet myself, but hopefully I won't get there. And funny enough, with all that's going on here at the moment, I missed Ricky Conn, really annoying. But I did get a report back from the previous Ricky contest that I entered, the UR9 QCQ, the Russian Ricky. And I'm pleased to say I came first in Scotland. However, when I checked who actually entered it in Scotland, I was the only entry, so that put a bit of a damper on it. But yeah, it was hard going, that particular one, I must admit. There weren't that many on as compared to obviously the more popular contest. But and okay on Emil for these 51 words a minute. No, I think I'd have to go back to being a staff at with a clearer mind if I ever wanted to get anywhere near that. But yeah, it's brilliant what he does, I must admit. And yeah, again, congrats to Nick on the two new additions to the family. More presents for Christmas, but it means you've got more toys to play with in the future, so that's a good one. Anyway, round to the KJJ with the group from GM4JKZ.
Here for JKZ and the group JKJJ. Yeah, fine, and all comments noted. Bob, I agree with you. 17 meters has been very good recently. I've worked a number of stations on that band. 20 meters has been good, and of course 10 meters has been open on occasion. But I've not put the 10 meter delta loop in the last few days. I'd just like to thank Jeff for the excellent summary of info he sent to me in email. concerning the use of satellites in amateur radio with the GW4VXE, I think was the call sign, and I find that very, very useful. So thanks for that, Jeff. That was very good. Yeah, as I mentioned earlier, since last week I've been setting up the station for satellite working from the shack. I'm going to use the ICOM IC7100 and the SDR console, which I use on HF band, but I'm going to use it on 432 and 77s. And I'm using an old RTL SDR dongle on the receiver. So we'll see how that goes. But I'm also going to use a 20 dB low noise amplifier. But I haven't tried the arrangement on transmit. I've just tried it on receive. It does work on receive quite well, but obviously it may need additional filtering. I'm using a diplexer which gives about 60 dB of isolation between 2 meters and 70 centimeters, and that may be enough, but may need additional filtering if that's not enough. The advantage of using the 7100 is that a bit more power than 5 watts is available should it be needed, because I did struggle with just 5 watts on the 2 contacts I made on the ISS last week. The antenna I'll use will be the Moxon Yagi, which I've used before. Initially, it will be fixed facing more or less east at an elevation of about 30 degrees, and this will allow access to the satellite for the last 3 or 4 minutes of the transmit. Ultimately, I would like a steerable antenna, but that's anyway. That's my view. So back to you. GM4 JKZ and the group GAKJJ. Oh, there is. Sounds good. Yeah, I'll do it myself. You know, complex. Enough to get my hand with like an arrow and fire antenna. And get to play with them. So if you're doing all the groundwork, once it's all up and running, it's running straight. And then yeah, the Moxon Yagi sounds definitely started on that one, didn't you? Thanks for the vibration back to it now. On the radio side, one other thing I've got, myself, they were saying that you can time on the there are currently 3 reports on its spikes, etc. On it, super good. One wasn't, so I decided to get one and look at it myself, what's going on. But what I particularly liked about it was its full panel, and there are 7 full buttons for the panel. And my thinking was I could run the existing panel from one panel on one crystal and the amateur frequency on the other, so that on my main node I have the panel as well. So that and more power logging version of it. So I'll let you know what it's like when I get it next week sometime. So that's the boy. Well, quite happy. Okay, on to the next. It's one IWO.
Yeah, GM4 JKZ in the group from G4IWO. Yeah, I'm fascinated to see how Lou gets on with your satellite setup, and that's a good story in progress there. Yeah, I think that we're going to have some busy conditions this weekend because it's the CQWW DX single sideband contest Saturday and Sunday. And so anyone listening or on the net tonight looking to for some literally some DX stations that would have been set up to participate in the contest. This is a good opportunity to listen out for those and get those QSOs if you're not into contesting. Of course, what it means is if you want to operate single sideband other than in the contest, you really need to go onto one of the walk bands this weekend. And I agree with all the comments about 17 meters. I also agree with Lou at the start about band conditions being very mixed. I found them astonishingly mixed. Very, very strange conditions sometimes. I think it was last night or the night before, I put out a few CQ calls on 20 meters. And I did work some stations in the States, and also I got Haiti again from the radio club in Haiti as well on a different band, which was good. But I looked at my reverse beacon network, and it was astonishing. All literally into South America, west coast of the US, Japan, Australia, and east coast US as well. And some of the signal to noise ratio reports on the reverse beacon network showed me something like 35 or 40 dBs above the noise floor, which I think is quite astonishing. So really, really strong signals, literally all over the place. But sadly, that wasn't matched by activity on the band. So yeah, I made some good contacts and had some nice chats. But unfortunately, the DX in the places where my signal was apparently reaching either couldn't be heard by me or weren't around at the time I was operating. And just a couple of other things. Emil, DL8JJ, he goes off to Sierra Leone, doesn't he, with the contest of the European DX group, Mediterranean DX group. And he's out there from October the 30th to November the 10th. So the call sign to look out for, Emil, of course, will be operating both CW and satellite while he's out there, is 9 Lima 8 Mike Delta 9L8MD. That's the call sign to look out for in a couple of weeks' time from Sierra Leone. But I don't think there's much amateur radio going on in that country. So that's going to be a very, very busy the expedition, but I'm sure that we'll all have the opportunity of making those contacts on CW with Emil. That will be rather good. And just one final thing. It was yesterday afternoon, Keith, I popped up on 40 meters and used the club call sign again. One of the stations I worked, apart from Keith, was Jeff, M0ITZ, another club member. So he was one of the early ones to call me. But one of the other stations I worked was a radio ham on the Isle of Wight. And I got an update from our friend Tom, ZS1ATS, and his wife Susie, who have now completed their move. The last time I spoke to Tom, which is about 3 or 4 weeks ago, he was getting very distressed and frustrated with the slow progress of solicitors in this country handling house sales and how slow it was operating, and was really really getting very fed up with it. But the news I've now got from South Africa, from the Isle of Wight rather, is that Tom and Susie have now purchased their property in the Isle of Wight, and they've been over there now for a couple of weeks, which is really good news. So I'm hoping that I'll hear from Tom fairly soon, and we'll start to see him coming back as the radio club once they've settled down in their new house there and got themselves moved in. But I guess having moved literally all their possessions in crates from the Isle of Wight, including his radio masts and antennas and so on, it's going to be some time before we hear from Tom on the radio. So back to you, Keith. GM4JKZ in the group, G4IWO.
I know what it was like when I was moving, but I made positive, but with my state car, all my radio equipment went to the state in the car and turned on in the containers. good thing. Now, that's always the Isle of Wight. So that's another island to go on the holiday. On to that one. Okay, let's look over to Bob over in those warm climates over there. N4X8C would be good. What do you think, Ken? Okay. First of all, Mike, this weekend I noticed quite a difference. Saturday and Sunday, even though I'm not really mad. On Saturday, I probably had twice as many contacts as I had on Sunday. Saturday was extremely good, where Sunday had dropped off quite a bit, and I didn't notice that. And I'd like to warn DJA Emil. Years ago, the fastest that I was ever caught was 51, and I know that I couldn't go anywhere near that today. It's been so long since I've copied that fast, and when I copied that fast, you're copying in your head, and so you miss a few letters in a word, you still know what the word is. At least that was my experience. And I want to congratulate Nick on his new family, on his expanded family. Grandpa, congratulations on the latest addition to your family. Total-wise, I'm doing fairly well. I have 15 to go. As of the beginning of this net, I was 29.85, so I have 15 to go. And of course, each one gets a little more difficult because there are less stations out there that I can find. But as of this morning, when I was 29.83, I got some contacts today. Contacts. But as of this morning, I was 778 worldwide. So I really can't complain about my standing. And I don't know whether that I got today, if I had any more today, it'll put me to 777 or not. But at any rate, I'm happy with what I have. And I do have a photo, and I'll get into that on the next go around. And I have to thank Mike and Adriana for the place that I got that photo. I'll get into that on the next my next turn. Back to you, Pete. November 4, X-Rail, back up. Before X-Rail, Tango from Flight 42, yeah, right there, Bob. So 15 to go. And then, there you go. And celebrate with you all next Thursday, perhaps. Righty ho. And 778 in the world. There must be tens of thousands, I reckon. So that's brilliant. Right. Over to Jeff, over with Belgium. Oscar November 8, November Tango. With Bob for JKZ. Congratulations. That's amazing. Really amazing. Oh, no. Well, I was yesterday or the day before, I was very happy to work 5 kilo uniform Alpha in San Andres. San Andres, I've probably been started on 12 even on 50 beats on the same evening. I'm really surprised that I confirmed because I read on their website that they have it in this 9 plus QRX, so I was not very sure that I would be able to make it, but anyway, I was very happy to do so. And today I did my first steps into implementing the RTL NTR combo on my Android tablet, and the aim is to put it also on my Android telephone to make it a kind of a very light SWL 60 station to travel around. Oh, you know,
Aviana FLPG, sorry, FLPG is totally free, so you don't have to pay anything. And there is even a version for Android, but which is not doing reading. It is not doing reading, but it is doing all the other modes, which is quite fascinating, I think. It's a brilliant program. You can do quite some other things like receiving hacks, weather maps from shortwave from some of the German stations and so on and so on. So a really fascinating program that is. Oh, you know, and absolutely true about the reading contest. I was not able to participate on Saturday because I came home late Saturday evening from the seaside coast here. Not on Sunday, so these were not good at all. So that's what Mike and also Bob is telling and some others. So I had my fee. So that's absolutely good. I discovered a website actually where you can see online television stations from all over the world. You don't need to register, you don't need to pay anything, it's just free. It's a open source initiative. And you can on the left side you have a menu, you go by country from Afghanistan to Swaziland or something like that, or Zaire. And on the left side you can thematic things like fashion, cooking, culture, music, and so on and so on. So it's a brilliant, simple user interface, a brilliant website. I really like that. And from your computer, you can stream up your television, broadcast, or any other. So the website is tv.garden, like gardening. You are gardening in your garden. So tv.garden, brilliant website. And okay, about I just read the big wait. Okay, concerning satellite, I repeat that RTL longboats are quite sensitive, especially if you are using much power, which 5 watts would be which one of the things you can do is the extra duplexer to the line, the 70 centimeters especially, because 70 centimeters is the third harmonic of the meters, and you get the descending and reception of 70 centimeters, and you can solve that by putting an extra. You already have a duplexer, I think, but you can put an extra duplexer to give an extra 60 dB destination of the two. So that's one way to go. And I think, yeah, the ISS is brilliant. It is possible to put 5 watts, but unfortunately, I said that before, the competition is unbelievable. I'm sure that some people are using 100 watts and big antennas and things like that, and heavy big antennas, not a Hobson or a Arrow antenna, but really big antenna. So that is really spoiling the day for those like you and like me who want to put it on simple portable. So probably if you could try to give some 15 or something, what that might be better. Okay, no, yeah. That's the news more or less. I put back to you, Jim Forte, and this is for my name of everything.
November Tango. Yeah, fine there, Jeff, on all of that. And yeah, I noticed on what's that new San Andreas Island. Very jealous, must admit. And I will look up that thinking .go tonight. Because now that I've come with 3 monitors up here, one of the previous monitors I had here was with a monitor input. So I want to have something to watch while I'm whiling away on workbench. But there we go. It's late. Okay, so we're down to the third verse now. So your finals. I'll put one final call out, but the sports insurance, the Mike Zero Upper Lima Zulu. I see you back on the Reflector again from the KZ. Would you like to join in? Hey, I'll take that as a no. Not the F48. Right, I have a but I have as well, yes. So we'll go back to the top of the list. What the JW with XLX305D, your final 35 day Guyana. Okay, project KZ. On XLW on the final. Yes, there's lots of interesting things again. And of course, congrats to your nearly arriving at 3,000 foot of station. That's absolutely unbelievable. And I can really good remember that you were approaching the 2,000 mark, which in my remembering is not so far away in the past. So that's quite a good thing. You did very well, and congrats to that. Yeah, I wanted to say something about 60 meters. Really, I have discovered 60 meters on my FT891 and then on my true ST8 here. And unfortunately, on the 7300, it's only not transmitted on this wavelength. I understand. But on the FT891, that's possible. And I've taken up experimenting with it. It's only quite a few kilohertz. I think 15 kilohertz in Germany, and you're bound to make 15 watts EIRP for thermal output. I did a little bit of CW on that and reached out to boundaries of Europe, about 600 kilometers far away. So it's not bad for 15 volts. It should be a little bit more. Perhaps late night might be better. I'm still experimenting with it. And on FT4, I was also going on FT4 the last days. Had some nice contact from Gambia and Madagascar. 508. That was also nice. Nothing new, but nevertheless, nice experience again. Yeah, that's all for this from my side. Thank you very much for your company, for your interesting thoughts and ideas. As always, I take something with me and some things to ponder about here on our tutelage. And yeah, hoping you're well okay next week at the same time. Thank you very much for and yeah, certainly treats from Northern Germany, hoping for good weather all around, and wishing you all the very best. Pass the microphone to the Deputy Mayor of the okay.
Yeah, very much proud of San Diego for the final. Yes, first of all, congratulations to the 3,000 contact contact. I can't imagine how to manage. Really, really safe. I think I will try that out in the future, and might be quite interesting to experiment with it. And yes, said about sort of about handle to Sierra Leone. The book is very, very interesting. I think will make WN people both take EMP equipment with them. I always don't understand how he managed to take so much complicated equipment, such a far away state, when travel inside Turkey or town or location by train or by car, we don't take really the chance of the equipment with us, and it's always very, very complicated. So that's why that we don't have possible transfer on the government that has to be here. So all of the and from northern Germany, from Delta Log, 73 and 88, it was Delta Mike Bravo, Delta Tango, handing the microphone, G4, JKZ.
BJW from for JKZ. Yeah, thanks, Andrew, on mine. And yes, I would listen out for him on CW, but my CW is not that good yet. But there we go. I certainly will. He probably managed to take all the hits, because he probably only has one thing. So he managed to get lots of space that way. And I thought I mentioned about taking more voices inside that concept. So I won't say it's good that I'm on my own, but it's not one on my own. And I just had a quick look at that TV.com again. Back, then you can rotate it and click on the country. It's interesting rather than next to the little bit on the side. Yeah, we on the RCB side, it's 5.51, 5 points. So very narrow band. Right, okay. KJJ, and have you got a picture? What JKJ?
And for JKZ, JKJJ. Yeah, I do have a picture, Keith. And I'll give you information about that. But first, I'd like to congratulate Paul on his photo numbers there. It is impressive. And Jeff, I did try and work the San Andreas station, but it was very, very popular. And I didn't spend a lot of time, but I didn't manage to work it. So that was a shame, because that would have been a new country. Okay, about the TV.gov, I'll have a look at that and see what it's like. Yeah, the ISF, I'm pretty sure that people are using more than 5 watts. I like to keep the power down to 5 watts if possible, but I can see that if you want to get in, then you're going to either be lucky or you're going to have to work at it. Maybe put a little bit more power out. Anyway, the picture receiving.
Attend police officer.
Regarding the circuit board project work, it was by M0WGD and G0FBI, and I use a similar system which involves a computer-controlled milling machine and a Raspberry Pi. I've been using the setup for about 5 years, and I adapted the milling machine and so the control software in Python. The picture, which I'm going to send, shows the milling machine cutting the tracks, or it's a still photo, obviously, but it shows that process for the preamplifier switch, which I built you weeks ago. And you may remember the switch didn't work very well on 77, but it does show the circuit board. It is an interesting way of producing circuit boards. Anyway, thanks for hosting the net. It's been a delight again, and you've hosted it with great applause. So 73 to everyone, and I'll send the picture when you request it, Keith. So back to you. GM4JKZ of the group, GAKJJ.
GM4JKZ. Yeah, fine, right? And yeah, I'll be interested to see pictures when it comes over. I haven't written the journal yet. Been too busy doing other things, but I've got class 2 records. I'll stick downstairs waiting to be read through properly, should we say, rather than coming through. So there we go. Okay, Nick, round to Gilbert Cell. 4IWO.
GM4JKZ in the group from G4IWO. Looking forward to Lou's picture, I have to say, and I'm also looking forward to Jeff's picture of the sea and the seaside there. But yeah, just a couple of bits of news about the club. The meeting next week is, as Bob pointed out, we are now back on from Sunday on to Zulu to GMT, UTC. So the club meeting next week starts at 19:30, 1930, 19:30. And we've got Peter, GM0EUL, who's going to be talking about building, using and fixing valve radios. And he's also going to talk about the little Morse key that he's designed and is making from home and making available for sale at a very modest price to radio amateurs who would like one. So that's Peter next week. And then 2 weeks later, on the 12th of November, we've got Colin, Mike 0, Oscar Papa X-Ray, who's going to talk about antennas for portable use. And Colin is the guy that's got an amazing YouTube channel with so much information about antenna designs and what works and what doesn't work and so on. So that will be an interesting evening. And then 2 weeks after that, on Wednesday the 26th of November, we've got Carl W8WZ, who's written an article in the CW Ops magazine for July this year about a simple 3-element vertical HF beam, and he's used 3 of the telescopic whip antennas, the 15'6" whip antennas that a number of us have bought from the same location very cheaply. So he's built a vertical beam using 3 of those, and it's actually based on work that was done by Jerry Sevick, who wrote some fantastic books on transmission balance many years ago. He was a friend of DJ Zero IP Ricks, and he wrote an article for QST in the 1971 edition of QST about a 3-element simple vertical beam antenna and what he was doing with it. So that's Jerry's original article was fascinating. So I know that the work that Carl has done on making a modern version of the same antenna will be very interesting and a lot of food for thought. And good luck to Keith while you've got the house to yourself operating in the contest there, Keith. Enjoy it. So back to you, and thank you, Keith, for taking over from Jeff this week, and see you next week. GM4JKZ in the group, G4IWO.
Okay, right. Let's go down to Bob for your final, and then come back to before it's my after tango over. Right there, before I take that. Right then, okay, cover, you always do. Just one comment. I know David Freeze, W1HKJ, the original author of FLDG. He was in the class park. And he was stationed at Cape May when he retired. And we were both members of the same club down there in Cape May. It's been quite a few years. But I know that they've made improvements in FLDG over the years. And it's still very popular today, and I'm sure that Adrian that you'll enjoy using that program. It works very well, as I can recall. I haven't used it recently, but well, Dave was told me. I remember playing with it, and it works very good, and it is free, as I believe Jeff said. Let's see, everything else will contest the latest and tonight, so I'll hold off on that and do that on the next go, on my next go around. Just before I send the picture, so thank you. And once you got great, I'm going to that my voice. So you support that. Before it's my alpha tango with the group, for JKZ. Okay then, Bob. And yeah, I've got FLDG on one of my Raspberry Pis. I haven't used one a long time now. It's package. One of the programs now. There's no someone created an account for Raspberry Pi, so who it was at the moment. Yeah, okay. Well, the advantage about SLDG is that it works on different platforms. I mean, so much, but I also use on my Windows machine, and it's working on private stage on Raspberry Pi, and I think also on the Macintosh computer, the tablet about that. And it's part of a whole suite of programs. There is XLX, I think there is just a program where you can send or format messages in a standard form. Then if there is emergency or so, or if there is any big problem with fires and with something which has quite a lot of technical support. It's really a very interesting program. I really like that, and it's I get to very easy, and it involves quite a lot. So, about 60 meters wide, when I got my set 3 months ago, I said to the guy, which is a local shop, it's probably one person shop, and he's on the road for 3 days. I said to him, I will only buy that one week if you make it not completely off, because you can
open all the windows of the 17, but there is an option to open the 60-meter fleet. It's the question of one deal today. Well, it's not for me because it's too laboratory. He asked me 50 euros, so he did that, and I can use my 1700 option. Unfortunately, the rules are different in the UK than they are in Europe, in Germany, and in Belgium. So we are not on the same thing, which is a shame, but we can always use how we call it, split screen. We can also always work in split screen. We want to have it. Well, so more on my picture on the next over, so I give the microphone back to you. Thank you very much for standing in this night again. For Jeff, I was a bit too late to say that I was ready to stand the next day. You took the lead, so thank you very much for that. So back to you, Jeff, or JK, thank you for having me.
So November Tango with a group Jeff for JK. So yeah, fine there, Jeff. And yes, shame that we've got all on stage frequencies. But so it's a bit working, of course. I trust you're well on the way to win this, not beat it already. Okay, right. So I'll order it first, then down next Jeff, and I'll follow up with it. Okay, around 6 weeks. And explanation from the Jeff will check it.
Okay. Well, I've given you the information about the picture. It's a picture of filling the sheet, cutting the circuit board, and there's a picture of the side of that showing the circuit board that it was cut. So, and it is a very simple way of making it. But of course, if you want to be really detailed, then it's probably such a good method. But it's not cheap either, because if you've got to buy a million sheet to do it, but you have to have that. So that was fine. Anyway, I'll send it now. Sorry, I've somehow I've got the tablet. Can we go on to the next picture, and I'll see if I can sort this out. Go ahead.
Well, Jeff will take it. Yeah, fine, no problems. Yeah, okay, down to Bob in 4X18. And my apologies, you did tell us what the picture was, but I'm getting brain fade now. In 4X18, over to you, Bob, from GM Project AZ.
I have to give Mike and Adriana some credit. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to read an email that they sent me on October the 1st. And it says, greetings from Sahorn Museum break, and that would be the Maritime Museum at break. And this is my pronunciation. And we further to the point that said, actually, go to a painting that is in the museum, and the painting is of the schooner break Frida. And the schooner
break freezer was a registered size of about 270, 207, and it was launched April 24th, 1865, at hotels. Pennine went to the West Indies, South American trade, and in 1872, she was sold to another owner. And later, she ran aground off the coast of Brazil and was sold. So I can spend a background on the ship as you stand by. I'm going to try to send, and hope I don't run into the same problems that I was just running into. Hold on. How did you copy Luke? Yeah, I've got a few boxes to see, Bob. I think it would be it's a nice picture, I must admit that. But it would be probably better if you could send it again. Go ahead. They're out now. How is your conference? There you go, Luke.
It's a nice vessel, Bob. Go ahead.
I could probably said it, but it takes so long if I go to the next mode. I use the standard mode, and even that takes a while to send. But that museum, if you go online and you look at that museum has all sorts of not only paintings, but they actually have ship models, etc., etc. And I had never heard of that museum. Apparently, my time in Germany wasn't there, or it wasn't a museum at that time, I guess. But it's a beautiful museum just to go through it. Back to net control, GM4 is it JKZ and 4X8A.
From GM4JKZ, yeah, that's a lovely picture, lovely rich deep colour of the sea as well. Yeah, I gather you must have copied it 100% first time round, ON4, sorry, ON8NT, GM4JKZ.
Yeah, Keith, that was the case. 100% from the first time.
Yeah, your private wire link through to America, that's what does it. Okay, on to you then, Jeff, for your picture. I'm ACMT, GM4JKZ.
Okay. There's a picture about how they are fishing shrimps at the Belgian coast, each side. So the picture is coming. You are
For that, Jeff, how did you copy, Luke?
Yeah, it's perfect. Perfect, Jeff. Yeah, good picture. Go ahead.
And you, Bob, did you get it okay?
100%, and that's a nice picture. I like that picture.
From GM4JKZ, and it's a clever way of keeping your feet dry as well, isn't it? Yeah, smacking that, Jeff. Thanks for that. I'll get back to you just momentarily from GM4JKZ.
Yeah, okay, GM4JKZ, for an 8 number tangle. This is still doing for tourists, actually, QRX. Yeah, they are still doing this for tourists. This was maybe 50 or 100 years ago. The farmers, which didn't have much in October to February, were using their horses to fish for shrimps at sea. So they just walked into the sea with their horses and with the nets, and they were fishing for shrimps. Farmers which were not that rich, actually, which doesn't have horses, did it by just walking themselves into the sea with waterproof clothing and just pushing the nets after them and fishing strips. So nowadays it's not done anymore, but it's done for the tourists. So in the touristic season, there is some demonstration of how that tradition was actually happening in the old times. So I think it's a nice piece of history, I think, of that part of the Belgian coast. Okay, GM4JKZ, the group of 8 November Tango.
Oh, and 8 November Tango, the group GM4JKZ. That sounds fascinating. Yeah, lots of things are done for nowadays, aren't they? Scenery does it. for the rest of the year, no doubt. Hey, well, I have to apologise for my photo because I took all my photos off my phone apart from half a dozen. And this is the old and new of my vehicles, I'm afraid. I promise next week I will get a much better picture for you. So go excellent, and I'll send it in a feed. Lou, did you copy it okay? Yeah, KJJ, KZ.
Mostly, Keith. There's a section in the middle. The two cars are showing well, but the section in the middle that's missing. Go ahead.
Okay, and Bob, N4X8T, GM4JKZ, now copy.
Pretty good. I'm missing just two blocks, and they're in the woods to the right of the garage, so they're not really affecting the photo, except they're way in the background of those bullets.
Okay, from GM4JKZ. And how about yourself, FON8N2, N4JKZ?
100% copy, Keith. You're on the side.
Boy, I certainly want your receiving equipment. Gentlemen, Lou, do you want me to send it again, or is that okay?
Oh, that's fine, Keith. As I say, there is the block just in the roof of the garage. The rest of it's fine. Now, I did wonder if it would be better if we used terminal mode rather than hotspots, but maybe the hotspots are the problem. I don't know. Back to you, Keith.
From GM4JKZ, yeah, totally agree with you there. The 705 is on my shopping list, but my other half won't let me go back to the and I drove him up to a couple of 3 weeks ago. But I can but with you too. But you're pretty sure. You're pretty right. I think that the terminal mode is better. And I'll have a look at my hotspot again because there is a bias there on the receive and transmit offset. So I might have a play with that one. Well, I might play with my other hotspot, see if I can improve it somewhat. Okay, where are we now? Well, sorry, N4X8T, do you want me to send it again, or are you happy with that?
I'm happy with it, Keith. Like I say, or there are only two blocks missing, and they're both way in the woods, way in the background, so no sweat here. Good photo.
Okay, thank you for that. From GM4JKZ. All right, with that then, I shall officially close the Pennine Ham online club meeting this evening. It's been a pleasure to share it again, I must admit. And it's getting me more and more into a sideband operation on HF and tin wagging for longer. And if I do go on, do stop me. Anyway, thanks everyone, and I'll officially close the net now. So this is GM4JKZ closing down the Pennine Ham net for this Thursday evening, and wishing everyone a very good night.
GN4 JKZ JKJJ. Do you want my picture, Keith? Go ahead.
Yeah, sorry, Lou, from GN4JKJ. I blew it, didn't I? Yeah, fire away, Lou. The air is all yours. Yeah, Lou. I've only got about 50%. There's quite a lot missing all the way through, and quite a long horizontal line. So, could you resend, please, from for JKZ?
Yeah, that's all right, Keith.